Meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll take roll. Supervisor Arrington is not present. Other than that, everybody else is. At this time, I'd like to call on the County Executive Jim Kreuser to present the 2014 budget.
Chairman Gentz, Vice Chairman Kubicki, members of the County Board, Circuit Court judges, elected officials, and of course our fellow citizens of Kenosha County. It is an honor to be here tonight to present to you the 2014 Kenosha County budget, in which I will propose the smallest increase this county has seen in the last 25 years except for our zero budget adopted in 2013. It is a privilege to serve as County Executive of Kenosha County. I'm proud that we, the County Board, myself, administration, and our top-notch employees do together on a daily basis on behalf of the citizens of Kenosha County. What truly makes this county great is its citizens. Hardworking, neighborly, caring, they are the people we work for. Our commitment to the citizens of this great county is to provide efficient services at the most cost-efficient manner while we continue to work toward our collective vision to create a stronger, sustainable Kenosha County. This budget continues our excellent services, many mandated, with some increases based on fixed costs like asphalt and gasoline. And we continue to aggressively fight fraud, waste, and abuse. This budget identifies the opportunity to improve in efficiencies and the cost effectiveness at our printers and copiers. This is accomplished through the implementation of a managed print program by consolidated suppliers and centralized device management. This will save approximately $35,000. But this is only an example of a string of instances in which we are doing more with less and spending the taxpayers' money more wisely. And we're not stopping there. In this budget, we continue our stewardship of our county buildings and infrastructure. This building, the administration building, will receive waterproofing and the tuck pointing in 2014 so it can remain like the courthouse for future generations. We will remain on our paving schedule of about 13 county highway miles this year. We will have a vision for both widening County Trunk S and down the road County Trunk H, both of which are key arteries to keep the economic heart pounding by moving commerce and people smoothly about Kenosha County. And we can learn a lot from the mistakes to the south of us. And I'm not talking about the Cubs. Talking about the attention to detail, like road maintenance and bridge repair, evidenced by the fact that none of our county bridges made the federal watch list. We continue to be proactive with our infrastructure. This budget requests we bond less than we did in 2012 and at the same level requested in the 2013 budget. Our good infrastructure leads to economic development, and good economic development leads to jobs. Economic development remains a high priority in this budget and in this administration. Working with our partners at the Kenosha Area Business Alliance and its president, Todd Battle, we have been part of and are seeing new development across our county. If you total the number of jobs announced from the beginning of the year, that exceeds 1,550 jobs. Meyer, 486 jobs. Emco Chemical Distributors, 145 jobs. Good Foods Groups, LLC, 50 jobs. Tai Chen International, 63 jobs. L&M Corrugated Containers, 44 jobs. Kona Cranes, 43 jobs. Hanna Cylinders, 105 jobs. And Kenall Manufacturing, 621 manufacturing jobs. Again, that's over 1,550 total new jobs announced since the start of this year in Kenosha County. And CAVA, along with assistance from the county, is in active discussions with Project Onyx, which is expected to realize another 1,100 jobs once developed. I can tell you that the Kenosha Area Business Alliance and the county are in talks with other developers with more new job prospects for our county. Majestic Realty Company, a large privately owned real estate company based in California, has acquired an 88-acre industrial site in Pleasant Prairie, immediately adjacent to Lakeview Corporate Park. Majestic is planning to build 1.2 million square feet of industrial/distribution center space at that site. Majestic subsequently announced plans to acquire and build an additional business/industrial park in the town of Summers on 300 acres that they have under contract. Venture One Real Estate, an Illinois-based real estate investment and development firm, has announced plans to acquire 250-acre site in Pleasant Prairie, upon which it plans to develop a new business and industrial park. The site is able to accommodate multiple buildings, and companies would ultimately contain upwards of 1,000 employees as per its initial conceptual plan. At this point, we should not let up on our commitment to the collective vision of good living wage jobs. As a result, this budget continues the funding of a high-impact fund with an additional $500,000 to do our part in keeping the job creation ball rolling. I think the headline from yesterday's Milwaukee Biz Times, and if you haven't seen it, it says it all. It says Kenosha County is red hot. Kenosha County is a red hot development spot. And we certainly play a role in that. Infrastructure in our community roads, bike trails, and various outdoor quality recreation opportunities, but also infrastructure comes in the form of communication. Just recently, our broadband infrastructure built for public safety purposes and extended for commercial and residential use has made high-speed internet available for 30% of our population where it was not previously available. This is an economic development and educational tool for which the benefits are very significant for our young talent whom we want to live, work, and stay right here in our community. Building on that success, I am proposing we make an additional investment in downtown Kenosha beyond our annual ongoing support of CAVA, which helps to fund the downtown Kenosha Main Street project. I am proposing tonight that Kenosha County provide the infrastructure for an outdoor Wi-Fi network from 35th Street to the north and the Anderson Arts Center to the south. It will encompass the downtown businesses, parks, and harbor areas. There will also be an opportunity for downtown businesses and residents to bring the service seamlessly inside of their buildings. The Lakota study spoke of this as an important issue to get done and not just to get talked about. This budget gets it done. We appreciate our partnership and encouragement of Violet Ricker, the Executive Director of Downtown Kenosha, and Todd Battle of Kenosha Area Business Alliance to move this project forward and work with our partners, the city, to fund the modest ongoing expense. I would like to give special thanks to Violet Ricker of Downtown Kenosha and Todd Battle of Kenosha Area Business Alliance. Why don't you stand up? They've been a lot of help on this issue. Thank you very much. We will also be establishing various Wi-Fi spots in our county parks throughout Kenosha County. While plans are still being formalized on that, You'll likely be able to watch Fido play in the Carlisle Dog Park while at Petrified Springs while looking up some dog training tips. In human services, we must continue our commitment to provide good service to our most vulnerable citizens. This budget does that. You will see that in this budget an increase for mental health commitments. We have an obligation to care for those who need our help in this community. We also need to be committed to educate and be proactive on the front end of mental health services. I want to thank Sheriff Beth and Police Chief Morrissey, and I appreciate their efforts to educate their team on the mental health issues in our community. It's extremely important that their education takes place so that people get their help on the front end and don't just get incarcerated with those people with mental illnesses. I also want to thank Jack Rose and NAMI of Kenosha for their work on this issue with Kenosha County and their advocacy and education about mental health issues in our community. Thank you, Jack. We appreciate all your dedication. So we've had opportunities. We stayed the proactive course. We reduced costs. We continue to implement efficiencies, preventing fraud while still making critical investments in our community. As a result of us doing our part, we see the evidence of recovery here. We have made the appropriate infrastructure investments and improvements that result in an improved quality of place. That gives us a significant advantage over many other communities in this region. This budget, including the last two adopted budgets, were the lowest 3 tax levies in the past 25 years. We've been responsible. We have been proactive regarding economic development. We want our children and grandchildren to be able to choose Kenosha County. By turning on Wi-Fi downtown, we are providing an environment to retain and attract people younger than many of us here in this room. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the next generation. We prepared our community for a recovery. We have a vision of creating a strong sense of place for our young and our young at heart. And we will stay on a positive course as we get ready for the economic recovery. Because we all worked on this together, and we made difficult decisions and difficult choices during the recession. And we're now poised for great success in our community because of that. Thank you all, and may God bless Kenosha County.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. We'll move on at this point of the meeting with citizens' comments. Anybody wishing to speak? You'll have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jack Rose, 4315 68th Street. Mr. Chairman, members of the County Board, I strongly urge you to support the Human Services budget for this budget just proposed by the County Exec. Many times I've mentioned about mental health awareness plus mental health treatment provides mental health recovery. At this time, there is no cure for mental illness, but there is a recovery. As we move forward with this, we have done a great deal in our community with respect to mental health awareness. A point of the training that we have provided with our crisis intervention team for law enforcement and our crisis intervention partner has allowed us to build a circle of care here in our community. We need to maintain that. Just recently, in September, we completed our 4th crisis intervention team training class with 25 more law enforcement, and also outside of county law enforcement, we have the Wisconsin State Trooper that is responsible for the Kenosha area, has been through the training. So right now, that makes 110 law enforcement that have gone through it. We have our CIP class coming up on November 12th and 13th. This is the two-day version of the course. Extremely effective. It's an evidence-based course, and we currently have 15 people signed up for it. We're going to limit this class to 45. There is no charge to it, and I strongly urge any member of the county board who is interested or can spare the time, please come by. It's at Gateway Technical College. If anybody is interested, please contact me at 605-9038. We have Dr. David Mays will come by on Tuesday, even if you can just stop and listen to David Mays talk about mental illness and the different types of mental illness and the different medications and how it interplays with drug and alcohol abuse. We also have the specialty courts that have started in our county, and we have really stepped up there. We started back in 2009 with jail diversion. Then we went to drug and alcohol court, 2010. 2011, we're part of Region 2 with the Veterans Court. And just this past June, we started a behavioral health treatment court. So these treatment courts are providing treatment and not just incarceration for people that have committed a crime. They're generally just nonviolent crimes, but they work. And to compare the cost, one day in our county jail runs about $70 a day. Our mental health diversion program comes in at about $5.91 a day per client. Drug treatment is $12.81, and our behavioral health treatment court is at $12.73. So it's a very cost-effective way that provides treatment to people that need it. NAMI National puts out the stat that there are only 4 people out of 10 with severe and persistent mental illness that have access to treatment. That's a national standard. 4 out of 10. Think about that, 40%. And we need to do all we can in our community to do better than that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wishing to speak?
Good evening. My name is Violet Ricker, and I live at 5707 6th Avenue in downtown Kenosha. Downtown Kenosha is thrilled with County Executive Kreuser's proposal to develop and install infrastructure for a downtown outdoor Wi-Fi network. On behalf of our new Main Street program that is dedicated to bringing more people and more businesses downtown, we enthusiastically support this important step in attracting new residents and visitors to our neighborhood. Tourists who are riding the streetcar will be able to log on to the Wi-Fi network and quickly find out about the great dining options, unique retail shops, and cultural offerings nearby. This access will add tremendous value to the work downtown Kenosha volunteers are doing to help small businesses improve their social media presence on sites like Google Maps, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Urban Spoon, and Yelp. There are an ever-increasing number of ways that businesses can reach customers at no cost through online marketing, and giving tourists a more convenient ability to find our downtown businesses will definitely drive sales. Research has shown that internet advertising has provided the most exposure for small businesses, with over 70% of small businesses getting at least 1/4 of their new customers through social media, and a growing majority of tourists using online information as the primary means of making decisions about places to go both before they arrive and once they're in town. Convenient internet access is an extremely important amenity for residents as well. Today, 77% of millennials choose first where they want to live and then find employment in that community. Providing the additional amenity of free public outdoor Wi-Fi can influence a prospective resident's decision on whether to live in downtown Kenosha or another urban community. Speaking as a downtown resident myself, I'm excited to have the ability to quickly upload and share pictures of all the great things there are to do here, especially in places where cell phone internet service is limited, like the lakefront, harbor, and parks. The Downtown Strategic Development Plan emphasizes growing our residential population and attracting young professionals to live downtown, which will develop our workforce and in turn attract more companies to locate downtown. This type of infrastructure investment sends a signal to the business community. I'd like to read a short statement on the topic from our newest downtown business, Dooley & Associates. To County Executive Kreuser and the County Board Supervisors. First of all, I would like to apologize for not being able to personally deliver this message as I am traveling to speak at the Midwest Boys and Girls Club of America convention. But most importantly, I would like to thank you for prioritizing technology in the Kenosha County budget. As a local digital leader, Dooley & Associates is proud to announce effective today, we have opened a larger office in downtown Kenosha. Our team was attracted to downtown based on the forward-thinking initiatives already occurring and the investments being made. Today's Wi-Fi access announcement reaffirms we made the right decision for our firm. This access will certainly help our business attract the clients and talent we need for success and to grow. Thank you again for prioritizing technology in Kenosha County. Sincerely, Jennifer Dooley, Principal of Dooley & Associates. This significant investment in downtown Kenosha will be another step forward in implementing the recommendations of the Downtown Strategic Development Plan, which will bring more visitors, customers, residents, businesses, and employees to our neighborhood. As the downtown district is revitalized, the city and county can expect to see returns on their investments with the increase in sales tax revenue that will be generated from increased customer spending, as well as the increase in property tax value that will occur as a result of new development. Downtown is everybody's neighborhood, both because its success relies on community partnerships like the county is demonstrating here today, and because the successes will benefit the wider community and city as downtown becomes an economic contributor. We sincerely appreciate the county's continued support of community and economic development in downtown Kenosha and look forward to working with you to make this new amenity a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak?
Well, my name is David Burke. I live at 5406 2nd Avenue in Harbor Park. Obviously, I don't have quite nearly articulate, I guess probably the better way to say it is I didn't obviously prepare a nice speech like Violet did, but I do want to let you know of my perspective in Kenosha. I'm new to Kenosha within the last 2 years. I moved here from downtown Chicago. I'm a father of one, and I have 2 twins on the way. Part of the reason why I moved to downtown Kenosha is because I was really appealed to the environment here, but also I was really intrigued by the way that the community is starting to revitalize itself. I became very involved immediately, took sailing classes at the Kenosha Community Sailing Center, and I'm now president of the Kenosha Community Sailing Center within 2 years. If you're not familiar with our organization, we serviced over 200 youth this year and 50 adult students. And there's not a cheaper place to learn to sail between Milwaukee and Chicago. The reason why I tell you all this is because I certainly believe in technological innovation as I serve our customers within the Kenosha Community Sailing Center. Specifically, we have 200 youth coming through our program with lots of parents. More than half of those parents are actually residents of the Kenosha County area, but the other half live in South Milwaukee or in the suburbs of Illinois. One of the common requests that I get whenever parents show up is they ask, do you have a Wi-Fi network here? Quite honestly, we have a Wi-Fi network in Breakwater Bar and Grill, but certainly that does not extend out to the dock area where students are at. I bring this up because these are not only parents of students that are taking our classes, but these are visitors to the local area, which I think will benefit from this type of service. Also, part of the reason why I can live in Kenosha personally is because I'm a young working professional and I have the ability to work from home. Now I have 1 child, 2 kids on the way, so as you can imagine, I would love the ability to be able to go to some of our local establishments and be able to work for a few hours to get away from some screaming children. Unfortunately, not a lot of local businesses have Wi-Fi, and oddly enough, that was quite a bit of a shock to me. But I'd say the last piece of why I think this is a great technological innovation is one of the challenges I've had living in downtown Kenosha is really the cellular and signal is not really that great here. I travel about 25% of my life for my job, and I have a special Verizon MiFi device, which is a hotspot. That thing barely works in downtown Kenosha. So the reason why I bring all this up is that I'm a young working professional, and I really think that innovations like this, especially with a town like we have, and having the ability to move forward like we are, I really think that this would benefit us all. That's just my personal perspective as a new resident to Kenosha, and also a person who runs a nonprofit organization. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Anybody else wishing to speak? Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, citizens' comments are closed. Announcements of the chair. We did get a letter from Governor Walker thanking us for our resolution, so they did receive it. Just wanted to let you know. Also, the budget books and flash drives are over there. I think they're called flash drives, right? They're over there, okay? You can have one or both. There's 23 of each, so feel free to take whatever you would like. Then the committees now are gonna break out and look at the budget per their committee. I would like to take this opportunity to ask as many of you to get to as many of these meetings as you can, as I think it's very important to work through the budget process at the committee level. So please make an extra effort to do that. I would greatly appreciate it. That closes my comments. Next, we'll move on to supervisor reports. Supervisor Molinaro.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure how the county executive can take a shot at the Cubs and think that's going to help me help him with his budget, but we'll certainly see.
I second that. We actually agree on that.
We'll certainly see where that goes. Yesterday was the legislative update hosted by the Kenosha Chamber of Commerce, and we had all of our state legislators there. And I can tell you, based on what I know and what we heard this evening from the county executive, I'd much rather be in Kenosha County government than certainly at this point in time the state government, probably just about anywhere in the country, or the federal government without any need to stretch that one. We've got some great things going on. I'm certainly optimistic with the presentation made this evening by the county executive. This will go to committees. It will head to the Finance Committee. It will be the 20th budget that I've been involved in here at Kenosha County, and I will announce this evening it will be my last budget that I'll be involved in here at Kenosha County. I will not be seeking re-election to the county board in April. I bring that up this evening because I know over the last couple of elections there have been individuals who have had thoughts of running and didn't because of my tenure on the county board. I encourage everyone to get out there, get involved, ask the questions, make a decision whether you think this is something you want to do or not. I will not be a candidate, but I will be deeply involved in the upcoming budget, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Molinaro. Supervisor Dodge.
Yes, on Friday, September 27th, I, along with 130 other members of the Kenosha community, boarded 3 school buses, excuse me, 3 school buses and took a tour of our local child welfare system, sponsored by Jockey International and the Coalition for Children and Youth Families. Other participants in the tour included local business leaders, ministers, members of the faith community, administrators from Kenosha Unified School District, members of CABA, executives from local human service agencies, elected state officials, Senator Robert Wirch and Representative Todd Onstead, CEO of Jockey International, Deborah Waller, and County Executive Jim Kreuser. The 3-hour tour gave me a firsthand look at how local county social workers and local law enforcement, Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, the schools, and the court system all work together in order to protect our children from child abuse and neglect and find permanent safe homes for children that are placed in foster care. The bus tour went to a local grade school, the Children's Hospital, Child Advocacy Center, and the courthouse. During this trip, I learned the following. The local county social workers who investigate child abuse and neglect have a strong and successful partnership with local law enforcement, and they work hand in hand investigating child abuse and neglect. When a child discloses that he or she has been abused, Kenosha County has a strong partner in Children's Hospital, and through the use of the Child Advocacy Center, children receive a thorough physical exam that looks for signs of current and past abuse. Children are able to tell their story of abuse through a forensic interview process that assists our local district attorney's office in prosecuting adults that maltreat children. Children who are placed in foster care are placed quickly in well-trained, licensed foster homes. Foster parents go to great lengths to comfort these children and include them as part of their family, while working to keep these children connected to their parents. Kenosha County social workers work to assess the strengths and needs of the families in the Child Protective Service System and craft a plan of treatment to help parents improve their parenting and treat mental health and addiction issues. Kenosha County social workers do not work alone, but have strong partnerships with contracted service providers that can provide in-home parenting training, in-home therapy, in-home alcohol and abuse counseling, urinalysis, as well as intensive in-home safety services. The goal is to find a safe, permanent home for children so they are not abused again. The juvenile court closely monitors the parent's progress and ultimately determines when the children can safely return home. When it is determined that a safe, permanent home cannot occur with the biological parent, the Kenosha County social workers work in a partnership with our district attorney's office to move toward terminating parental rights so that those children can find a safe, permanent home through adoption. In conclusion, the Journey Home showcased the child welfare system that succeeds in protecting children through strong community partnerships and strong community support. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Dodge. Supervisor Brunig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very funny, Mark. I just wanted to remind everyone that the clerk's office is doing a great job of putting all the packets online. Please feel free to contact Mary or Edie in the clerk's office to make sure that you are set up so that you can receive those electronically. This is going to be a great way for us to go paperless. The other thing is coming into the budget process, I want to remind all of the supervisors and not just the committee chairs that please talk to your youth and governance members to make sure that they are aware of when their budget for their committee is going to be going to the finance committee. Make sure that they are in attendance or at least try to be there. This is a very important piece of their training so that they can see the whole entire process of how this goes through the county board. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Brunig. I'll add two things. Make sure if you're a mentor that you try to get your youth to the committee meetings, because I really need to have them get involved at that level as well as going on to the finance committee. Second thing is I'll just also piggyback on that paperless. I accidentally stumbled at WCA into a conference on paperless. I was fooled about what it was, and I ended up sitting at a 2-hour meeting on paperless. So I just want to let you all know it's coming. And I actually asked questions afterwards and got fairly excited about it. So you can teach an old dog new tricks. So, Supervisor Hallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of items from Human Services. First off, the monthly report that we have from Human Services dropped on September 30th. I believe you all were CC'd in on that email, so feel free to browse through that at your leisure. Secondly, there is an event coming up, the Stand Down for Homeless Veterans and Veterans Benefit Expo, hosted by Racine and Kenosha counties, which is open to all veterans and spouses. It's going to take place Saturday, October 26, 2013, starting at 9 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m. at the Kenosha Job Center, 8600 Sheridan Road. Some of the services available will be employment services, education, haircuts, compensation and pension benefits, aid to needy veterans, legal assistance, basic screenings, information on the property tax credit for veterans, and travel pay information, as well as others. So for those of you that would like to take a look at the flyer I have here, I can see about getting you copies. Otherwise, see me. One other thing, this ties a little bit into tonight's agenda item, so I'll just touch on it really briefly here. Our Regional Workforce Development Board that we share along with Walworth and Kenosha counties, not Kenosha, Racine, sorry about that. We are actually the lead county on that, and given our appointment processes, having folks, it's been past practice, I guess, for our committee to have the person physically appear before we confirm them. Then, of course, that nomination then moves on to this body for final approval. We are up against a bit of a deadline in terms of making sure that we fill the seats on our Workforce Development Board so that we can continue to be the lead county. As the lead county, the state gives us the money, and we essentially disperse it to the other two, and of course, as well as ourselves. So that's just sort of a heads up. I can touch on that later when the agenda item comes up. I also want folks to know that the Kenosha Racine Foreclosure Mediation Program released the third quarter statistics. For 2013, we've had 103 applicants. For the first time, Racine has actually surpassed Kenosha in terms of applying to the program. Thus far, year to date, 50 applications have come from Kenosha County, 53 have come from Racine. Those of you who are curious about how some of that breaks down, I have that information so you can see me later. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hallman. Seeing no more lights, supervisor reports is closed.
County Executive Appointments, Lieutenant Gil Ben to serve as the Director of Kenosha County Division of Emergency Management.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Committee.
New business, Resolution 1 reading, 55 from Human Services, a resolution to approve the appointment of Carmen Castro to the Kenosha County Workforce Development Board. Hallman, yes. Boyd Frederick, yes. Yandita Johnson, excused. Decker, excused. Arrington, yes. Nudo, yes. Montemiro, yes.
Supervisor Hallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move Resolution 55.
Resolution 55 has been moved by Supervisor Hallman, seconded by Supervisor Nudo. Supervisor Hallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a resolution, as you can see, to approve Carmen Castro, who is quite qualified to fill this position. We did have some small hiccups. As I said, it has been past practice for the committee to have people who are looking to fill these seats physically come to committee, partly to see what they look like and partly in the event that we have some questions that we need to ask them. On the spot, it's always nice to do that. Ms. Castro was unable to do that. She was away at a conference actually lobbying on Capitol Hill during our committee meeting. We did know about this in advance. We tried to see if we could schedule another time prior to that to have her come to committee. We tried to see if we could potentially even Skype her into the meeting or even simply to just do a conference call. None of those options were able to be exercised, so as a result, we were not able to have immediate communication with her around this, but it was passed unanimously by the committee with the request and the caveat, of course, that she would come after her trip to D.C. and come talk to the committee. But she was approved unanimously by those present. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hallman. Seeing no lights, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution 55 passes.
Approval of the September 17, 2013 minutes by Supervisor Rose.
Supervisor Rose.
Move the minutes of the last meeting.
The minutes of the September 17th, 2013 meeting have been moved by Supervisor Rose, seconded by Supervisor Brunig. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Those minutes are passed.
Supervisor's comments. Supervisor David Hallman, Affordable Health Care Act.
Supervisor Hallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is really the last time I want to talk about this because I'm really excited about something in the 2014 budget, and I think y'all know what that is. Tonight I placed a couple of documents on your desk, 4 to be exact. Hopefully you have not removed the paperclip, because if you have, as I say these things, they probably will not make sense to you. The first document that you have comes from our Human Services Department. It's from 2012, so last year, as part of their budget presentation. It basically breaks down the number, on the basis of percent rather, of folks who are on Badger Care, broken down by municipality. Typically, this is information that is kept by the state. The reason why you have that is because the picture for 2013 looks roughly the same. As you know, the Affordable Care Act does make some alterations to Badger Care. You probably noticed in this morning's Kenosha News that I believe it's 92,000 Wisconsinites will now be moved from Badger Care and pushed into the marketplace to buy insurance. In short, what I'm trying to say is these are my constituents and they're also your constituents, and by nature of that, they are our constituents. There is hardly a corner of this county that is not touched. Also, what you have in that pile, the next document beneath that, is a news article from the Kenosha News about folks on free and reduced lunch in school districts throughout Kenosha County, not just Kenosha Unified. And there is a striking similarity between that document and the previous one about folks being on Badger Care. So again, that's another one that gives you a snapshot of the economic picture of households at the municipal level. So again, as you can see, folks at every single corner of Kenosha County, my constituents, your constituents, our constituents, are significantly affected in terms of their ability to access the healthcare system. The other document that you have there comes from the Office of Commissioner of Insurance, and it looks lengthy, but I assure you it's not. It's very large type, and they've basically put it out in bullet points. It's very easy to understand. It's essentially exactly what the Affordable Care Act offers. It's pretty interesting to read through, and it doesn't take that long. And like I said, it's very easy to understand. I would suggest for those of you who are doing doors, you might get phone calls from folks, that you at least breeze through that so that you can sort of answer folks' questions, because the State Department of Health Services has sent out letters and has been making phone calls to people saying that their eligibility has changing, whether it's that they're moving from Badger Care and being pushed into the marketplace, or in some cases, folks who are waitlisted on Badger Care are now either eligible for Badger Care or are also being pushed into the marketplace. It was a very extensive wait list. What you have at the very bottom of that is the 2013 Federal Poverty Guidelines, which essentially establishes the criteria for folks who would be on Badger Care. Anyone between 0 to 100% of federal poverty level is eligible for Badger Care. Anything above 100% of federal poverty level, and you're essentially pushed into the marketplace. So what you have there is the 2013 Federal Poverty Guidelines based on family size and income. I believe it goes from 100 to 250%. So hopefully that should be enough and not too much to give you a little bit of guidance about how you wish to proceed in terms of communicating with your constituents, should they approach you with questions, or should you decide to eke out on your own and approach them yourself initially. I do want to say that in this community, I've been in talks with Aurora Hospital System and with the Kenosha Community Health Center. They are facilitating some town halls. They'll actually be assisting in mine next Tuesday at the Civil War Museum at 6:30. There'll be others going on as well, but much of the focus is centered on enrollment. And we have been meeting as a region, Kenosha and Racine, to take a look at our community infrastructure to see who has laptops, who's got iPads, tablets, what have you, who has navigators, that's explained in the OCI document, who has CACs, certified application counselors, also explained in the OCI document that you have, and try to pull all of that together so that we can have enrollment sessions for folks. So that is what is going on. We're on top of it. If you have any questions, let me know. I have had some requests perhaps to do some town halls out on the west end of Kenosha County. If some supervisors feel excited enough that they would like to figure out how to do that, certainly my ear is open and we can dialogue and figure out how best to proceed in order to make that happen. I would say if you were interested in that, we should do that sooner as opposed to later. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Holman. Supervisor Molinaro.
So that everyone doing doors is fully armed and prepared for what may come. Keep in mind, the latest national poll says 66+% of the population doesn't support the Affordable Care Act. So you really want to be prepared when you knock on those doors and bring the issue up. Thank you.
The point is that unfortunately it might be coming. So, whether you like it or not, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whether you like Supervisor Holman or you don't, it is coming.
Not a perfect system we have, is it?
I don't disagree with you, and I'm, but at this point, somebody might have a question. It's been moved by Supervisor Decker, seconded by Supervisor O'Day to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye.